We are confident that as a member of the United Nations, they will contribute much in making speedy solution and wise solution. We are confident that in our deliberation, we will benefit from their wisdom, from their ingenuity of thought. In this assembly, we are sure that their entrance will give our deliberation more vitality and more speedy progress. Apart from that, Mr. President, we are also certain that Nigeria is an independent country. Nigeria in facing their problems, Nigeria in solving their problems will also give inspiration to all of us, especially to the newly independent countries. The method in which she is solving her problem, either politically, economically, or technically, or socially, will certainly be of great advantage for other nations, especially the newly independent countries or the technically underdeveloped countries.
Mr. President, last Saturday, the country which I have the honor to represent, the Federation of Nigeria, became independent and assumed the rights and the responsibilities of a sovereign state. Today, Nigeria has been admitted into the United Nations organization and assumes still more responsibilities. On behalf of my countrymen in Nigeria, I thank you all most sincerely for accepting us as a fellow member in this organization. We are properly grateful for this recognition and for the generous and friendly gesture made by so many members who sent very distinguished delegations to join us in celebrating our accession to independence. I'm particularly pleased that so many important representatives could come to Nigeria on that occasion, because they will be able to inform their governments of the genuine desire which Nigeria has to have friendly relations with you all. First, it is a desire of Nigeria, as I have said already, to remain on friendly terms with all nations and to participate actively in the work of the United Nations organization. Secondly, Nigeria, a large and populous country of over 35 million, has absolutely no territorial or expansionist intentions. Thirdly, we shall not forget our old friends, and we are proud to have been accepted as a member of the British Commonwealth. But nevertheless, we do not intend to align ourselves as a matter of routine with any of the power blocs. We are committed to uphold the principles upon which the United Nations organization is founded. Fourthly, Nigeria hopes to work with other African states for the progress of Africa and to assist in bringing all African territories to a state of responsible independence. The recent tragic events in the Congo Republic must be uppermost in all our minds. And it is about that country which I wish to speak to you first. I frankly admit, Mr. President, that there are many features of this seemingly intractable problem which remains obscure to me. I am in some doubt as to the exact manner in which the Constitution granting independence to that country was drawn up by the colonial power which formerly administered the territory, and as to the degree of consultation which there was with the Congolese peoples themselves, and at what level that consultation was carried out. I do not know how widely the provisions of the new constitution were known in that country, or whether there is any pattern of administration going up from the village to the provincial and to the national level. Many other questions present themselves which require to be answered if we are to find a solution to the present problems. For instance, Mr. President, was the new constitution imposed from above or freely accepted by the Congolese? And what are the human resources in the country? And what sort of government machinery is available to execute whatever policies may be designed upon by the Congolese government? Nevertheless, with the information which is available to us, we in Nigeria feel that there are several important factors to be constantly borne in mind in dealing with the problem. The first of these is that Africa must not be allowed to become a battleground in the ideological struggle. For this reason, the Congo situation must be a matter to be dealt with primarily by African states at the political level. Secondly, we believe that in dealing with the problem of creating a real political life in the country itself, it will be necessary to start at the bottom by seeing that local and provincial authorities are established while maintaining the essential unity of the country. We also believe that the Congolese people were right to appeal to the United Nations organization for help and advice in rebuilding their country rather than to turn to any individual power. Until achieving our own independence, we have hesitated to add our voice to the general discussion about the Congo, lest we should merely add to the confusion. But now, Mr. President, I feel that it is my duty to put before you and to ask for your sympathetic consideration of the possible solutions which have suggested themselves to us. We warmly applauded the immediate response of the United Nations organization to the Congolese disaster. The speed with which troops were sent to maintain law and order was most commendable. But the mere sending of armed forces is not enough. I consider it essential that the United Nations organization should thoroughly investigate the root causes of the troubles which have arisen there, and I suggest the appointment of a fact-finding commission to look into the circumstances which caused the present crisis. Without a proper and thorough diagnosis, it is idle to pretend that an effective remedy can be prescribed. And here I would say that, to my mind, it is most important that none of the great powers should be represented on the fact-finding commission, because however honest are their intentions, it would be inevitable that they would be regarded as having a particular interest in the problem. The first essential is to find a government capable of governing, and for this it will probably be necessary to hold new elections in the Congo Republic. When these had been held, there will be some properly authorized leaders There are but a few of the ways in which the Congo can be helped. I'm sure that late though it already is, it is not too late. We African states should come together to assist the Congolese to solve their problems. And I feel sure we can do so, but it must be collectively and not merely as so many individual states. We must do it together, and we must be entrusted with this responsibility by the United Nations and given their full backing. Nor would I limit the advice and assistance to African countries, but should welcome the participation of other states, though I repeat that I think it would be advisable to exclude the great powers. And now to deal with the more general problems of Africa, problems which are bound to arise as those powers which colonized Africa in the last century are now relinquishing their control and granting independence to their former colonies. The best way for them to assist us to reach maturity is not by spreading ideological propaganda in whatever form it may be disguised, but by helping us genuinely with real goodwill to develop our resources and to educate our human material up to those standards which are necessary for proper development. Many of the new African states are indeed potentially rich and should contribute to improving the world, but for the fact that they lack the technical knowledge and the financial capital necessary to develop their resources. It is especially in this field, Mr. President, that I commend the many schemes which the United Nations organization has sponsored for assisting the underdeveloped countries. Indeed, I wish that there were many more of them. I would not necessarily limit technical assistance to the United Nations, but I do seriously suggest that it is in the best interest of the world peace for assistance from elsewhere to be given only to those countries which, although still underdeveloped, are politically stable and have a properly constituted government which is capable of understanding the risks of accepting aid from another country. Politically unstable because such aid will only give rise to suspicions, and in the end the receiving country may find itself involved in the ideological war, a thing which, as I have already said, we in Africa must do everything in our power to prevent. I wish to make our position plain beyond any matter of doubt as regards the African continent. we in Nigeria appreciate the advantages which the size of our country and of its population give us, but we have absolutely no aggressive intentions. We shall never impose ourselves upon any other country and shall treat every African territory, big or small, as our equal, because we honestly feel that it is only on that basis of equality that peace can be maintained in our continent. Mr. President, that way there can only be trouble. In the fullness of time, as political relations develop, and there is more and more consultation between the states of regional groupings, then political union may well be a natural result. But it would be wrong either to impose it or to seek to hasten the process unduly. So far, I have concentrated on the problem of Africa. Please do not think that we are not interested in the problems of the rest of the world. We are intensely interested in them and hope to be allowed to assist in finding solutions to them through this organization. But being human, we are naturally concerned first with what affects our immediate neighborhood. We do indeed believe in the United Nations organization as providing perhaps the only effective machinery for inducing world peace. But while proudly and gratefully accepting membership of this supreme world body, may, sir, I frankly say that we who waited for admission have sometimes been concerned lest our older and more powerful brethren are losing sight of the objectives which in founding this organization they sought to serve. If I think correctly, we in Nigeria are a populous country. There are about 40 million of us, and our territory is relatively large. We are willing to learn before we rush into the field of international politics. But we are totally unwilling to be diverted from the ideals which we think true. That is the reason, Mr. President, why we in Nigeria shall not be found to align ourselves as a matter of routine with any particular bloc. Indeed, I hate the very idea of blocs existing at all in the United Nations. It seems to me to be a contradiction in terms. This assembly is the supreme conference in the world. If the ideals on which it is based are really accepted, then one would expect every representative, no matter from where he comes, to feel absolutely free to express the mind of the country he represents, to feel that he is in no way restricted either by the lobbying of other representatives or, in the case of underdeveloped countries, by being put under an obligation through technical and financial aid. It may be that then, when we hear the world crying out for peace, we may receive the inspiration to deal with these intractable problems and be able really to devote all our resources to the advancement of mankind by applying those eternal truths which will inevitably persist long after we ourselves are utterly forgotten. Thank you, Mr. President.